up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson, and today we're going to be talking about the price of Bitcoin, the stock market, the US dollar index, and the Fed meeting tomorrow. I just realized I hadn't made a video in a week. It's been literally like 6 days, and I thought, okay, I got to do a video here pre-Fed meeting and talk about my thoughts. So tomorrow, pretty big day. Selected interest rates. The Fed is going to have a meeting tomorrow. The big day, everyone's anticipating it. We have all kinds of ideas being thrown around. 75 basis points seems to be the consensus or a guarantee. 100 basis points seems like it's a possibility. Depends on what the Fed wants to do. If you look at the CPI index, the Fed, as we heard from Joe Biden recently, in April we were at 8.3. In August we were 8.3. So we've had a couple months of just hanging out at the 40-year high. And we don't actually have any confirmation that inflation is under control. Now, a lot of people have this idea about a Fed pivot. And I was saying on Twitter, in my opinion, the Fed pivot narrative is misguided and unrealistic. The Fed, cannot stop raising rates without knowing for sure that inflation is under control. Because if they start reducing interest rates, or they start pivoting, basically, and inflation goes out of control, and they weren't, it wasn't confirmed that inflation was under control, they're going to look really bad. And it would be reckless and irresponsible. So the best that we can hope for tomorrow is a 75 basis point hike. And if the Fed wants to be very aggressive and take control of inflation now, they may go with 100. But I was saying that, I don't think the markets have felt the full effect of tightening yet. Expecting an instant recovery after 75 basis point hikes seems foolish. Now, I do think that the stock market, Bitcoin, would likely see a short-term rally if we get a 75 basis point hike tomorrow. The market is sort of buying this dip, expecting it, 75 basis points, probably a short-term rally into the 75 basis point hike. But if the Fed, comes out and says, well, we're going to be continuing to progressively raise rates to unusually high levels, well, this rally will likely fade and will test lower. Now, if they come out with 100, well, we're likely going to test the June lows very quickly. And, well, I think it could get pretty ugly, guys. The June lows are really important for the stock market right now. And if we do at some point, even if we get a short-term rally, come back to test them and start going lower, it's going to get really ugly really fast. And we probably wouldn't really recover until 2023. So there's a lot of factors at hand. And something else that is interesting that some people are interested in, that some people aren't, is the fact that we are now inside of the 7-year Sabbath cycle, the Shmita, the ancient Sabbath year mandated by the Torah every 7 years. And these lines mark each Sabbath year. And it is actually quite amazing to see how much these years really do play a role in major shakeups in the world. This one, 2014, was felt in China more than the US. But each year so far, each 7-year cycle has been a big one. And I just wanted to mention it because it is at least very interesting. And if we hop over to this picture, which the smog in my Discord was the one who showed me this, that it just marks every year, every Sabbath year, it's been a huge deal. And now we're in 2021. What happens next? Well, currently we have war. We have major market retractments. All kinds of stuff is happening this cycle, this 7-year cycle right now. And it is definitely shaping up to be the great shaking of our time currently. So it is playing a role. And what's interesting about a lot of these Shmita years, these cycles, is that, first of all, I know a lot of people are going to make comments and say, well, the Shmita end date is coming up, September, by the end of September. But guys, previously, it doesn't matter where the end calendar date is of this Sabbath year. The corrections continue on after. They continue on after. And likely, more than likely, this correction will continue on after. Every time we have this 7-year cycle correction, we get this hard resistance line on the monthly that we stay below for at least a year, even 2 years. And so far, it's been really just less than a year. So I could totally see this cycle, this 7-year cycle, continuing down a little bit more, getting a little bit more aggressive to the downside with a 2023 recovery moving into 2024, the Bitcoin halving with a full recovery. But a few more months going to the end of the year, I could see us continuing down. And the new year usually refreshes human emotion, and human emotion sort of artificially shifts based on the new year. The new year comes around, people have hope that something different will happen. And that's why we always see end of year, big end of year changes. If you notice, guys, right, what is this month right here? January, the new year, falling, right? What is this month right here? January, the new year, falling down. What is this right here? December, the new year, seeing a little bit of correction there. What is this right here? January, the new year, which we already had almost a year now, going into a year, falling. So the new year, like this bottom here in 2003, then when the new year came, January 2003, we rally. So sometimes the new year can help refresh sentiment. So I think that just based on that analysis, we probably will see more aggressive downside until the new year, where sentiment can be refreshed. People have hope that the new year will bring something different. So, if I just had to take sort of a macro educated guess, probably continuation down. Fed's going to continue to raise rates. Will probably continue down, right? So that's going to be happening tomorrow, by the way. Obviously, most of you guys know that. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the US dollar index. The US dollar index is a very important topic right now, very important metric to keep in mind, and something that a lot of influencers and analysts are not taking into account is, the analysis that I've provided here on YouTube and Twitter, which is the parabolic expansion of the US dollar index. Every time we see a parabola get created, we break it and form a larger one. Parabola expands. New parabola forms, we break it, create a larger one. Parabola expands. New parabola forms, we break it, create a larger one. Parabolic expansion. So even if the US dollar index falls below this parabola, a lot of influencers are going to say, well, there it is, bear market's over. But guys, parabolic expansion. This is a parabolic expansion pattern. So we would likely continue up anyway until the Fed makes it clear that they're going to pivot. Now, a lot of people are going to ask me, what price is Bitcoin going to bottom at? What is your target? Well, I don't really want to be the guy that puts out a crystal ball magical target for Bitcoin. I don't really care to do that. I think it's useless information. So what I'm looking for is the actual price behavior or the behavior of the US dollar index and how that reflects to Bitcoin. For example, if you look at 2015, when did Bitcoin start going up? It started going up when the US dollar index had a monthly monthly bearish engulfing candle. But what was the important part about this for Bitcoin, the blue line, to start going up? What was the important factor? It wasn't finding a top because the US dollar index continued to make higher highs. What was the important factor? It was the loss of momentum. That's the important factor, the loss of momentum. And then it goes down and Bitcoin goes nuts, right? Okay, so now we know it's not about finding a top, it's about losing momentum. So where's Bitcoin going to bottom? Well, in my opinion, it's going to take place when the US dollar index finds a monthly bearish engulfing rejection candle, which could be, who knows, this month, it could be next month, a few months from now. Once the US dollar index finds a bearish engulfing candle, it doesn't matter if it's the top. It'll probably go up after. But as long as it's going sideways and losing momentum, then Bitcoin can moon. The loss of momentum is the key. That's how Bitcoin finds recovery, because that means that cash is flowing elsewhere. So the loss of momentum is the important part. So far, the US dollar index is not losing momentum. It's not slowing down, not yet at least. But that is when I think Bitcoin will bottom. I don't care to put out a price target. I don't care about crystal ball stuff. I know what I need to see from the US dollar index, a bearish engulfing candle in the monthly. Now, just keep in mind, this red candle was not a bearish engulfing candle because it didn't capture the bottom of the previous candle. What we need is a bearish engulfing candle that captures, engulfs the previous candle entirely. that's when we'll know that the US dollar index is losing momentum. And this could take another month or two, guys, towards the end of the year for it to really happen. But that's when I'm going to be super bullish again. So far, I'm remaining skeptical, a little bit pessimistic. Fed's raising rates, tightening is continuing, and Bitcoin has never experienced this type of tightening environment before. But that is all the crux of sort of what I wanted to talk about today. And on Twitter the other day, I said I'll be the only influencer to say I have no idea what to expect. I can only give you my educated guess. I know, what scenarios would play out if certain events took place, but at the end of the day, guys, I have no idea what to expect. I'm only giving you my best guess, and nobody, even if they sound confident, knows what to expect. This was kind of like a joke, but people loved to actually hear somebody say, I don't know what to expect. Right? I have an idea, but it's anybody's guess, guys. So once again, if the S&P, the Fed goes with 75 tomorrow, we may see a short-term rally, but I think the tightening would continue, and we would probably end up testing the lows anyway. 100 basis points, and all hell breaks loose, most likely. So that is what I expect. Hope you guys found this video interesting. If you did, smash the like, and let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll talk to you guys soon.